Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini. How's it going, everybody? We are entering the home stretch here ahead of the 2026 NFL Draft, 8 days away officially from a massive gathering happening on the North Shore of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where we will hopefully get to see a good draft that the Pittsburgh Steelers are having. The reason why today, the Steelers just finishing their top 30 visits. All of their visits are now in the book. Here in a few moments to kick off the show, we will sift through, go over some of the pre-draft visitors we already talked about and the 5 new ones that we have not talked about yet going back to Monday night. The Steelers have had quite an interesting top 30 visit cycle. They've had first rounders all the way to seventh rounders in the building, most of whom first round wise potential wide receivers. There's a first round guard in there we're going to talk about today that I really like, and 4 quarterbacks, none of whom I believe are all that high valued quarterbacks, but we'll talk about those as well. The draft right around the corner. It is going to be on the forefront of all of our minds here over the next week and change. After we're done talking about the Steelers bringing a conclusion to their top 30 visit cycle, we'll get into some Pittsburgh Penguins hockey. The Pens last night wrapping up their regular season in St. Louis. Not a whole lot to talk about there. What we will talk about, though, with the Penguins is since we last spoke, we found out who their first round opponent will be in the playoffs, and I think we all are just excited and chomping at the bit to watch the awesome and physical hockey that awaits the Pittsburgh Penguins in round 1. We'll wrap up the main talking points with the Pittsburgh Pirates. They are now 2 games in to a 4-game set with the Washington Nationals. How those first 2 games went, we will talk about here in a moment. One went really, really good. The other kind of went good, but there was one very odd decision by Pirates manager Don Kelly that has everybody all riled up here today. So we'll talk about the Bucks and their games. They play game 3 of that series coming up here in roughly an hour. So hopefully we will be done or close to done with the live stream here tonight by the time first pitch rolls around. Before we officially get things going here on this Wednesday night, if you are new here to the Steel City Sports Report, on your way in, please hit that subscribe button. Don't cost nothing. It would greatly help the channel. Please hit that little button. Also, turn on notifications so that you never miss a thing here on the Steel City Sports Report. Again, whether that is a live stream like this, where we talk about Pittsburgh's sports news every other weekday night, whether that's a breaking news live stream, if there's something massive that happens in Pittsburgh sports, we try our best to come live here in the moment or not too long after, talk about it. Or whether that is a live stream for a sporting event. We will be live for some Pittsburgh Penguins playoff games here soon, and planning on being live all 3 days of the 2026 NFL Draft. I'll be sitting in this chair a bunch come 1 week from tomorrow. Also, go and like this live stream right now. Share this live stream so we can grow the viewership here tonight for this stream, and in the comment section, if you have any thoughts, questions, or opinions that you may have, get those in there. I enjoy interacting with you fine folks that way. We already got one commenter in the building right now. Concepts, I see you there. We are going to get to your comments, Concepts. Keep them rolling in. I know you want to get hot and heavy on the Steelers draft and all that, so we are going to be talking about all the people you are mentioning in the comments section right now here in a moment. Last thing I will say before we get things started, go check out the channel at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and tune back in a little bit later on tonight for a new edition of SCSR 60, where we try to get all of the Pittsburgh sports news of the day into a 60-second or less time frame. With that, not going to beat around the bush. We are going to get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. 8 days away. I know Concepts in the comments section right there saying 8 days away and saying Omar Khan probably has a caffeine IV constantly flowing this week. I hope he does. I hope, well, I mean, Mike McCarthy's case, he might have a beer IV. He's going to need to stay engaged in all that. But yeah, nobody's sleeping. It's around the clock work all around the NFL, really, for the next week or so, getting final draft boards situated, final meetings completed, which is exactly what happened today with the Pittsburgh Steelers. This began roughly a month ago, maybe a little bit more than that. They began top 30 visits, bringing in draft prospects after the combine to get to know these guys a little bit more, maybe get a little bit of a medical update, quiz them a little bit on what type of a player they are and what they could bring to the Steelers organization. All of those meetings now completed since we last spoke on Monday. The final 5 meetings for the Steelers took place, 3 yesterday and 2 more this afternoon. We will talk about those 5, the ones from yesterday and today, and then we will have one last recap of all of the visitors that you see on your screen right now, both top 30 and local. The 3 yesterday, a very exciting trio, all on the offensive side of the ball. Penn State offensive guard Oliva Venga Ioane was in the building. He is a guy that is much beloved here on this channel, much beloved by Steelers Nation, and I think that expands a little bit beyond the Penn State homer portion of the Steelers fan base. Everybody loves Ioane. Do the Steelers love him as much as we do? Time will tell. At least it's a good sign they had him in the building yesterday. Also in the building yesterday, another offensive guard, Bo Stevens from Iowa. I think he is a guy that is getting overshadowed a little bit by Jennings Dunker, the sick redhead mullet offensive lineman from the Hawkeyes. But Bo Stevens, he is no slouch either. We'll get to know him here in a minute. And the last visitor yesterday, Ohio State tight end Will Kachmarek, who, if I'm not mistaken, just a week or so ago, we did a mock draft Monday here on the channel. And I believe with one of our 7th round picks, I did draft Will Kachmarek. I really like his measurables and what he could possibly bring as a 3rd string tight end to the Steelers. Of course, the breadwinner from yesterday, Venga Ioane for the Steelers. Up until this point, the Steelers with Venga have not had any sort of major interlinking or crossing of pathways. The Steelers, I believe they met with about 4 or 5 offensive linemen at the combine a few months ago, whether it was a formal or informal meeting. Venga was not one of those. And also, the Steelers were not present at Penn State's pro day. They instead opted to go down to Georgia to watch the Bulldogs pro day. So up until this point, maybe it's just a due diligence thing. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping the Steelers do have legitimate interest in the best interior offensive lineman in this draft class. But up until this point yesterday, the Steelers and Ioane, no sort of, connection between the two thus far in the pre-draft process. I'm hoping that was just them showing as little interest in Ioane as possible so that maybe they could put out the smokescreen out there to other teams that, hey, we love this dude. We need this dude. We're trying to make a move up night 1 of the draft to get this guy, but we don't want any team getting in a bidding war with us over this guy because we want to, get a good deal, but also go up and get our guy. Ioane, how can you not love him? 22 years old, 6'4", 320 pounds. That is excellent size and weight for a starting left guard. Started all 32 games in his career over 3 seasons with the Nittany Lions. And just tell you, this guy, Ioane, he is nasty. Couldn't be a more likable dude off the field, but Ioane, he is, I'd say, guaranteed, whatever team gets him, guaranteed 10-year starter for that franchise, assuming that they have the money to pay him a second contract. He is that good. He is plug and play at left guard, and I just salivate at the idea. As much as I love the wide receivers in this draft class, probably referring to the top 7 in this draft class, you're talking about Tate, Lemon, Tyson, Boston, Concepcion, Cooper, and Jeremy Bernard. As much as I love those guys, Ioane, I just keep salivating at the thought of him playing left guard right next to Zach Frazier. And looking at the offensive line as is for the Steelers, you insert Ioane at left guard, you have got 4/5 of your offensive line figured out for at least the next half decade with Ioane, Frazier, McCormick, and Fa'atanu. We're still wait and see on Broderick Jones. I'm hoping that the Steelers, like I said, do have legitimate interest in Venga Ioane. Be quite honestly a shocking development if he were to fall to the Steelers come draft night here in 8 days. But hey, who knows? Maybe the Steelers can trade up, make a move for him. I know it's not the most coveted offensive line position, but when a dude is that good at position, better by far than the others in the class, you got to take a big swing on him. The Ravens, apparently, when it comes to Venga, they are also interested, or at least are talking highly of Venga Ioane, and nothing will piss me off more come draft night than if the Ravens end up taking the Penn State left guard. Should Ioane go to the Ravens and the Steelers look elsewhere for offensive line help in the draft, their other guard that they brought in yesterday, Bo Stevens from Iowa, he is an interesting prospect. Not, as elite as I think Ioane can be, but he is a valuable guard and could, provide some competition for Brock Hoffman and Spencer Anderson should he get drafted in the middle rounds. Stevens, 6'5", 315 in the weight department, 25 games at left guard and 10 at right guard for the Hawkeyes. I know that is going to be a positive in the Mike McCarthy department. McCarthy, what keeps on, sticking and bouncing around in my mind over the past few weeks. McCarthy at, I believe, the NFL annual meetings in Arizona. By the way, it wasn't the only thing going on in Arizona, if you know what I mean. But the thing that keeps on sticking in my mind for McCarthy is he wants every single one of his players that doesn't play quarterback or kicker to play multiple positions. Bo Stevens being versatile to play either guard spot, could probably play a little bit of center as well. That should definitely have him high on the Steelers draft board. Last year, Stevens, PFF graded him as the highest pass blocking guard in 2025 at a 92.1 grade. Stevens also, I believe, very, very prideful in taking up the duties of pass protecting for the quarterback. So if you're going to have Aaron Rodgers back there again another year, if you're the Steelers, having Bo Stevens back there, that would definitely help keep Rodgers upright at least a little bit. Might need to, learn on the job a little bit, but I'd be okay giving Stevens a shot. The last meeting from yesterday, Will Kaczmarek, tight end from Ohio State. Not going to go too in depth here on Kaczmarek. Currently projected to be a early day 3 type guy in the 4th or 5th rounds. I'm not sure how high the Steelers are going to be looking for a third string tight end in this draft class, but Kaczmarek, 6'6", 261, ran a 4.7 40, and is 23 years old. Was not the feature tight end at Ohio State. That was Max Clare, but Kaczmarek, could he be a guy that maybe if he gets a little bit of a longer look on a new team, could he be a guy that stands out? I would hopefully think so. Also, 6'6", 261. I bet you he can hold his own weight when it comes to pass protection as well. Moving on to today, the final 2 top 30 visits for the Steelers. One's a quarterback, one's a defensive back. The quarterback, one of 4 in this top 30 visit cycle for the Steelers, staying in Happy Valley. They had Ioane in yesterday, as Ioane was walking out of the building, was able to give a high five to his old quarterback, Drew Aller. Aller was in the building today, per Tom Pelissero and all of the big NFL insiders. Pelissero also putting out there the annual blah, blah, blah as the Steelers wait for Aaron Rodgers' decision. It's now has hosted hosted most of the draft's top quarterback prospects on visits, which includes today. Yeah, I'll believe that they take a high quarterback in like the first 2 or 3 rounds when I see it here. But Aller is interesting. Talk about prototypical size and athleticism for the quarterback position. Dude is tall as hell, can stand there in the pocket. He's got a cannon for an arm, but I view him sort of similar as a more mobile Mason Rudolph right now, where he can toss the deep ball till his heart delights, but the short and intermediate stuff, that's where he needs the most work on in his game. Right now, especially reading coverages and defenses, he's pretty behind in development in that, and will sail a couple balls, throwing heaters on 10-yard routes and stuff like that. So Aller would be an interesting prospect. It would also be interesting, I believe I said it a few Mondays ago when we did the first SESR mock draft Monday of this pre-draft cycle. I did take Aller in this draft class, and now the Steelers showing interest in Aller again. I believe they met with him at the Combine as well. You want to talk about creating a civil war with Steelers Nation. You got the Ohio contingency of Steelers fans, who I'm sure most of them were our Ohio State people and Will Howard truthers. And then you got the more Western Pennsylvania Steelers fans, who most of them are Penn State's fans. You want to talk about a Steelers Nation divided, all of them meeting in the middle here at Pittsburgh to fight over, who's going to be a better quarterback for the Steelers, Will Howard or Drew Aller. That is going to be a highly juicy talking point. The last visit today here for the Steelers, actually like this one. They brought in corner/safety Traden Stukes from the University of Arizona. Stukes, 6'1", 190 pounds, 24 years old, so on the older side of being a prospect. That will limit his developmental ceiling, but you want to talk about a dude who you could, put him anywhere on the field, and he is a blazer, 4.33, 40-yard dash at the Combine. Can play safety, corner, nickel. That's highly interesting to me. A sort of a chess piece that can move all around the defense. I'm here for that. 4 INTs and 6 pass defenses in 10 games last season. I don't care how old he is. He is fast and he produces. I'd take a mid-round flyer on Stukes, that's for sure. And of corner prospects since 2018, Stukes has a RAS score, a relative athlete score, on par with some pretty successful NFL corners, J.C. Horn, Pat Surtain, and Christian Gonzalez. So keep an eye on Traden Stukes. And that is the final 5 pre-draft visits for your Pittsburgh Steelers. You see them all on screen right now. 33 in total pre-draft visits you are looking at right now. 4 quarterbacks, 6 wide receivers, 3 tight ends, 3 tackles, offensive tackles, 3 offensive guards, 2 D linemen, 5 linebackers, 5 corners, and 2 safeties. Looks to me, that is 3 tight ends. Yeah, I said 3 tight ends, 4 quarterbacks, 6 wide receivers. That to me looks like they're looking to add a pass catcher and a defensive back quite early in this draft, unless they are throwing some smoke screens here with these top 30 visits. 19 of these 33 visits on the offensive side of the ball as well. I can't remember. I mean, hell, it could be last year for all I know. I can't remember the last time that you saw a Steelers top 30 visit board shake out by at least 5 or more prospects in the offensive favor over the defense's favor here. So should be interesting. Sort of going through here. This is what I wanted to do with this. We got this picture popped up right now. I kind of wanted to do a little exercise here. Which of these guys could be, targets by round for the Steelers? You obviously got your first round targets: Mekhi Lemon, Denzel Boston, Venga, Ioane. Looking here on the defensive side, I don't think there's any first round targets over there, but Lemon, Boston, Venga, Ioane, maybe Jeremy Bernard are your first round targets of the group here. Second round, second and third round, day 2, you're looking the quarterbacks direction here. Those 4 quarterbacks, except for maybe Carson Beck, they can go days 2 or 3. You got Skylar Bell. I think he's an excellent day 2 wide receiver. Markel Bell might be day 2. Spencer Fano, sorry, missed him there. He's definitely a round 1 type of guy. Keelan Rutledge, Bo Stevens, Darrell Jackson Jr., those 3 on the top of the left or the right side there. Day 2 targets: Kyle Lewis, Jacob Rodriguez, on the fringe of being a round 1 target, but gonna leave him as a day 2 guy. Right now, he and Kyle Lewis, top of the linebacker food chain right there. Chris Johnson, not good enough to be a round 1 pick, but also not bad enough to, fall to the Steelers at pick 53. He's a day 2 guy. Malik Muhammad, trade in Stukes. Might be a day 2 guy. Manuel McNeil Warren, right there. Fringe day 1, early day 2 type of guy. And the rest of the guys on here, I mean, they're pretty much day 3 all the way from, 4th to 7th round looks there. But it is an interesting top 30 visit board there for the Steelers. If I had to go off of original feel, who would likely be Steelers off of this list, and someone can screen record this right now, and we'll come back to it. Not this upcoming Monday, but next Monday. Which of these guys I think have the highest likelihood of being Steelers? Quarterbacks. I mean, probably the second to last guy I'm interested in here, Cole Payton. I think the Steelers are really intrigued by him. He can end up being a Taysom Hill guy where you can position change him. As much as I love Mekhi Lemon, I'll believe he drops when I see it. So Denzel Boston, Jeremy Bernard especially, those are your likely 2 Steeler wide receivers that could realistically be in range for the Steelers from pick 21 or a trade up in the second round. So I'm keeping my eyes on Boston and Bernard. Kendrick Law interests me here. One of these 2 guys, Law and Caldwell, as a day 3 wide receiver, pick him up as a special teams guy. Will Kaczmarek, Marlon Klein. I think those are one of those 2 could be your TE3s. Travis Burke, as much as I like Markel Bell, I think Travis Burke is going to be a guy that the Steelers take as a project left tackle. Darrell Jackson Jr., think he's got a good chance to be a Steeler. Same thing with Keelan Rutledge up here, the offensive guard from Georgia Tech, as a day 2 guy. Linebacker, going to go with either Jack Kelly or Jaden Duggar. Unless a perfect situation for a good linebacker falls into the Steelers' laps, I don't think they're going to take one super high. Maybe early day 3 you're looking at for a linebacker. Kelly and Duggar, both guys can fill in a pinch and play special teams. And then corner here, I'm looking at Stukes maybe, but also the 2 Washington guys here I think have great likelihoods of being Steelers, especially Takario Davis. I mean, he is a massive dude, bigger than Joey Porter Jr. actually, playing corner. Steelers, they like the size. They like having, pretty big sized DBs, and Takario Davis, Ephesians Priceock even, they definitely fit that mold. I think those are, out of this list, the likelihood Steelers that they had 30 or local visits with that could be Steelers. Of course, not all of these guys are going to be Steelers. Not every single pick that the Steelers make is going to be a guy they've brought in for a visit, but it is an interesting group, and I definitely think you could see a good bit of them wind up being Steelers someday, especially in the first round. I believe I saw something. Omar Khan, his first 3 first-round picks in his tenure have all been top 30 visit guys. Broderick Jones, Troy Fautanu, Derek Harmon, all of those guys were brought in for top 30 visits. So now we're looking which of those guys right there are going to be top 30 visits, are going to be Steeler first-round picks. We'll have to wait and see. People also, I've seen freaked out about, where's this guy, where's that guy, especially the other 2 wide receivers, not named Carnell Tate, that were missing from that list. Mekhi Lemon was on there. Jordan Tyson. People were asking, where's Jordan Tyson? I don't think Tyson is going to be a guy that, the Steelers are going to put a ton of work into. I think they know the type of skill set he brings, similar to George Pickens in my opinion. And also, you don't think Art Rooney II, I think he's the guy that would have this guy's phone number, most likely out of everybody in the Steelers front office. He's going to give a call, dial up Hines Ward real quick, who is the Arizona State wide receiver coach, coached up Jordan Tyson pretty heavily. I'm sure if AR2 wanted to, he can call up Hines Ward, get the skinny on Jordan Tyson just like that. Hines Ward actually going to be in Pittsburgh for the draft to support Jordan Tyson. So just envisioning how cool of a moment that would be if Tyson were to fall to the Steelers round 1. He and Hines Ward, a Steeler legend, walks across the stage. That would be pretty cool. The other guy, Omar Cooper Jr., he is the guy that you least need to worry about that the Steelers didn't bring in for a pre-draft visit. If Cooper is there at 21, they will know everything about him without having brought him in for a visit. Frank Cignetti Jr. on the Steelers coaching staff, brother of Curt Cignetti, who is the Indiana head coach, and also Adam Henry, new Steelers wide receiver coach. He recruited Cooper to Indiana back when he was in the college ranks. So that is it for the Steelers' top 30 visits. A pretty nice looking group. Lots of athleticism in those 30 visits. Lots of big bodies too, except for, maybe a wide receiver or two. So it's going to be fun. And breaking all of these guys down. And here on draft night coming up, we're going to be busy here. Actually, just the other day, made the first thumbnail for night one of the draft. You're seeing it on your screen right now. Move some of this stuff. Be sure to come back here. Night one of the NFL draft. Got all of the top prospects. Would love that guy in the upper left-hand corner, but I'll believe he will be a Steeler when I see it. So come on back 1 week from tomorrow, round one of the 2026 NFL draft. Let me get this off the screen right now. With that, going to go into the comment section here. You guys lighting up the comment section with draft talk a moment ago. Concepts in here. Welcome, Concepts. Really want Venga if available at 21. Not really feeling a trade up, to be honest, but I'd also be disappointed if we skip on wide receiver in round one. I doubt Venga falls, but who knows? I'm still BPA, but want a big-time wide receiver. I do too, and I like Venga as well. Doubt he's going to be there at 21, but also, strongly believe that they aren't going to, have a sizable trade up past the Ravens for a guy like that. The board will have to come to them in the first round. Day two, though, I could see them moving up in the second round, packaging a third and a fourth, or maybe 2/3 if they really want to make a big jump up within like the first 10 picks of day two. I think that's more realistic for the Steelers than a trade up in round one. I think what I'm getting at here, I'm trying to, map out here what a, what a good scenario would be where the Steelers get a solid wide receiver and guard with their first 2 picks of the draft. I see it more realistic that they take like a Denzel Boston at 21. He's probably, honestly, not my personal favorite wide receiver for the Steelers, but probably theirs. Denzel Boston. McCarthy loves his huge wide receivers. I'm thinking it's more realistic we see a Denzel Boston selection night one of the draft, and then night two they make a trade up for like an Emmanuel Pregnon from Oregon, more than we would see a Venga Ioane in round one. And then night two of the draft, you get a Jeremy Bernard, or for some strange reason, if Casey Concepcion were to fall out of the first round. I would love that, second option, but the first is more realistic. Get ready for Denzel Boston and maybe a trade up night two of the draft here. Concepts here again. Some are calling Jordan Tyson the next Hines Ward. Your thoughts? Also, can say Casey Concepcion being slept on by some, in my opinion. Working backwards in that comment, Concepcion, yes, I really like him. Do I like him so much to take him at 21? I'm close, but I'm not quite there yet. However, there's a trade back in the first round. I'm much more willing to take a Concepcion later in the first. And then my ideal hope is that he is what you say there. He is slept on, and he ends up falling to like somewhere in that 38 to 42 range in night two of the draft, and we can trade up and get him then. But I'm not going to be banking my hopes on a Casey Concepcion fall. Someone's going to take a shot on him. Jordan Tyson, the next Hines Ward, just because he's coached up by Hines Ward doesn't mean he's going to be Hines Ward. Does bring physicality to the game and make stupendous catches, but I'm not going to be putting too high expectations on a Jordan Tyson. I do love that Hines Ward coached him, though. We'll teach him to be a professional and do your job first and foremost right here. Like Concept says here, smash that like button on your way in. SCSR Dad in here as well. Concepts, we never heard about the Iron City in the midi fridge for new head coach, but it meant a lot to the great Coach T, so I bet he kept the tradition alive. Hope McCarthy shares the story. Yeah, I mean, that was a weird, story right back at the right back in the initial week of the McCarthy hiring. Said he didn't get the Iron City beer in the midi fridge. But maybe it pops up sooner or later. Who knows? Concepts here. Hot take. Broderick Jones will be an all-pro in 3 seasons. Does he have the potential still? I, in my heart of hearts, believe he does. I said it on here a million times. I'll say it again. I thought Broderick Jones's arrow was pointing up before he got hurt in that Chicago game. But being an all-pro in 3 years, could he do it? Yes. Will it be with the Steelers? No. I don't think the Steelers, him heading into his final year of his rookie contract without picking up the 5th-year option, I don't think the Steelers are going to give him that long of a leash to reach all-pro potential unless he continues to show strong improvement again this year, which is going to be tough coming off of that neck injury. Mr. Steeler fan in here. Welcome, Mr. Steeler fan. They better get a real nose tackle to help with the consistency of the run defense. Derek Harmon can't do it all. Benton isn't very good at nose tackle against the run. He doesn't draw double teams. Agreed. Benton has had flashes, but they have been few and far between there at nose tackle. Thought Y.A. Black would have helped more in the run stopping department last year, but didn't really show that. I'll be intrigued to see what he does year 2. But, I mean, a Daryl Jackson, a Dominique Orange with one of your day 2 picks, maybe the 3rd round. That's probably where you're looking at for nose tackle in this draft if you're the Steelers. Mr. Steeler fan again. Hopefully they didn't meet with certain talent as to keep that quiet from other teams. I really like the depth at nose tackle this year, especially for the 3-4 defense. Agreed. Love Lee Hunter out of Texas Tech. That is a dude right there, Mr. Steeler fan, that I think the combine and his performance there really hurt his draft stock. You were talking about Lee Hunter as a potential back end of round 1, if not first couple picks on day 2 type of guy. Still could be that, but I think it's more likely than not that Lee Hunter will be buzzing around that 53, 53rd overall pick for the Steelers in round 2. Might even be available when the Steelers are on the clock. I don't know. Would be quite all right with Lee Hunter, putting a fire under Keanu Benton's rear end by getting him. Then you got Lee Hunter and Derek Harmon on the D-line. I'll take that. My ideal defensive tackle would be a Caden McDonald, an Ohio State Buckeye who can learn under another Buckeye, Cam Hayward. Don't think he's necessarily the best run stopper, though, the class. Concepts here. They could decide against having certain players visit because maybe they already know everything they need to know. Exactly. Looking here, I'd be really surprised if Lemon is there at 21. That would be interesting to see. I mean, when's the last time I'm not going to go on a, wild goose chase searching for this, but when is the last time a Biletnikoff Award winner for best college wide receiver made it all the way to the 20s? Maybe a Jordan Tyson or a Jordan Addison, former Pitt guy. I think he won the Biletnikoff Award back when he was with USC or Pitt, one of those two. I mean, but even then, that was a lot of things had to go right for him to fall that far. I'm not going to bet on Lemon being there at 21. I think the Rams are either going to take him because you got Nakua and you got Devontae Adams, but they're going to still be all in with Matthew Stafford. And then the Ravens, not sure if he's a Ravens guy, but another team that worries me for Lemon, you got Miami at 11. And then there was one more. Just had in my mind. It's now blanking on me. Can't remember. My bad. But yeah, Lemon, got, Rappaport and them saying, he could be the 3rd wide receiver off the board behind a Tyson or Cooper. Oh, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Still highly likely that, still more likely that Lemon goes near 10, closer to 10 than he does 21 by a lot here. As for receivers, I'm a huge Jordan Tyson fan. And yes, that's because of his ties to Hines Ward. Tyson is injury prone, but his talent is undeniable. Absolutely. Can be very, very talented, but The injuries are worrisome. I believe he missed time in each of his last 3 years from the little bit of work I did on him. We'll see. I think his draft stock has slowly risen over the past few days. Drew Aller not liking him from True Thong. Yeah, you got a love-hate relationship with the prospect of Drew Aller. You love the athleticism and the high ceiling that he probably has. You don't love the turnovers in crucial parts of the game and the inability to read a defense right now. Yeah, just it'll be interesting for sure if they were to get Drew Aller. I would at least give him a half decent shot with the quarterback developer, Mike McCarthy, Mr. Stiller fan. I don't know why they would draft a quarterback, but I think they really like Carson Beck. Yeah, I have that strange feeling too. I have a feeling that would be if Beck is sitting there, 5th or 6th round, day 3, and they'd be like, all right, listen, we got Rodgers back, but we got Will Howard. We want to see what we have in Howard first, but might as well get a high floor guy in Carson Beck who doesn't have any upside whatsoever, but just not a Carson Beck fan, dude. Just doesn't have anything that wows me about his game. And kind of like Drew Aller was a choke artist at that time. And then there's, just some weird stuff off the field and all that. He's intriguing, well built, all of that. Just don't know if he has the arm talent necessarily either. I'll never forget Mason trucking that defender and knocking him out versus the Lions. Mason underrated mobility. Still wish we got to see the offense designed around him. Not fair. He never got that. Yeah, I think tons of people who still, have hopes for Mason. They're hanging on for dear life right now. That 2022 run to the playoffs. Truth here, it'll be Boston first round draft pick. Yeah, agreed. It just feels like a Boston type of pick here for the Steelers. Big body. McCarthy loves him. Can move well for a big man, and he'll learn under 2 guys who made success as big men in the league, Metcalf and Pittman. I think you're going to have an all big man and Roman Wilson wide receiver room for the Steelers. Though I think a Lemon would be a better complement to the guys currently on staff. Looking here for some of your other comments as well. Had similar thoughts watching him. Like Boston a lot. Don't see an issue having 3 big wide receivers. I'm starting to lighten up on that. I just would like, shiftier, middle of the field yards after the catch guy a ton. Who knows? Maybe the Steelers shock us. They get a Boston and then they double down and get a Jerry Bernard or something. That's very wishful thinking and very much overinflating your need for 2 wide receivers. JPJ got snubbed for the Pro Bowl and All-Pro. Fautanu will earn them soon, in my opinion. Frazier, Herbig, Darnell, and Harmon are beasts. McCormick and Peyton, good value. Just my thoughts. Still think it's early. Talking about Steelers roster right now. Omar has been doing all right. Has he, hit some home run hits quite yet? Who out of that list? Nick Herbig's a home run hit for the position value. JPJ, same thing. 1 year of Derek Harmon looked like that. Darnell Washington. I think where Omar Khan's quite interesting. Seems like he's getting better value out of his day 3 picks than he is his first round picks. I'd like to see him smash it with a first round pick undeniably here. Fautanu can be that. Want to see one more good year from him. Looking here, nose tackle, an underrated position. Agreed. Flea Hunter falls again. Not going to rule out them taking him. Freight Train in here. Welcome, Freight Train. Been listening after the shows lately. Still here. Hello, everyone. I'm away from my phone, but wanted to pop in and say hey to all. Hey, Freight Train. What's going on? Glad to have you back here on this Wednesday. 8 days away from the draft here, Freight Train. I know you and pretty much everybody in the comments section and watching this right now, you guys are all going to be back here with me come 8 days from now. Night 1 of the draft. I will be a nervous wreck. I will be looking a little bit run down still, finishing getting, prospect evaluations done. I think I got most of the wide receivers done. I think I'll have done work on 45 wide receivers by the time we get to draft night. I so far have done most work on quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and defensive backs, both corners and safeties. Got to work in the trenches between now and night one of the draft. We'll get there. Parking for the draft will be a nightmare. Need a second mortgage. Yeah, you'd be better to take public transportation. I've been hearing constantly take the T, take carpool down there. Take I think there will be some buses through downtown Pittsburgh that'll be running around constantly. It's going to be a nightmare. And God help all of the out of town visitors who are coming in for the weekend, and they're going to need to come through those Fort Pitt tunnels and go across that bridge where you've got, maybe 20 seconds to make a move to your lane. If not, you're taking an hour and a half detour. Yeah, it's going to be a nightmare. As cool as it would be, not going to lie, as cool as it would be, being there at the draft, getting the vibe, being around, football junkies galore, seeing all the sights and festivities around, I'll be quite content here. Beer's cheaper, bathrooms, longer lines, which that's another big question. What the hell is the bathroom situation going to be like? Someone, I think on 93.7 The Fan today brought up the disaster that was the Kenny Chesney concert from a handful of years ago when the porta potties were just a nightmare situation. Imagine how bad it's going to be for this. I think PNC Park said they're opening up some of the ballpark to be used for, bathrooms and food vendors and stuff like that. But yeah, it's going to be a hell of a time down there at the draft here in a week or so. But yeah, I'll be quite content right here. Be quite content. As cool as it would be being in that atmosphere, too many people and too much chaos getting in and out of the city. Pittsburgh is not the perfect city to have mass gatherings of over 500,000 people. River will turn around. Yeah. The river also, that's going to be another thing too. I think public boat traffic has been shut down starting this week, and it's only going to be public transportation on the rivers. So we'll see how crazy it is when we get closer to draft night. 11 of you in here right now. Just got done for 45 minutes talking about the Steelers, their pre-draft visits, and the drafts. We will have tons more draft talk coming up here on the channel over the next 8 days leading into night one of the NFL draft. See the thumbnail for the draft on screen at right now. I'll make the live stream for the draft probably Tuesday next week for being real here, and then the other ones we'll get to at a later time. With that, real quick transition, ladies and gentlemen. Going to get through hockey and baseball talk here real quick on this Wednesday evening so we can maybe get done around first pitch of the Pirates and Nationals Game 3. That is on to my right. That is why I keep looking over here a little bit. Want to get into the hockey talk here for a moment. The Pittsburgh Penguins, regular season now over. Last night, the Pens had their regular season finale. They took on the St. Louis Blues. It was a 9:30 puck drop, and going to be totally honest, I'm not going to talk much about that game because there is jack really to dissect. Nobody played for the Penguins. They called up multiple AHLers for the game, and Jake Livanovich, I'm going to try to get his name right just in case he gets into the lineup for round one against the Flyers here, but Jake Livanovich, the defenseman who they signed from North Dakota out of college, he made his NHL debut last night. Good first period for the Pens, 3 goals. The two Hayeses led the way in that department. Kevin Hayes won a faceoff to Rucker McGroarty, who scored. Avery Hayes, who I think with Connor Dewar and Blake Lizotte, their statuses for game one of the playoffs being in question. I think Avery Hayes is going to be a nice grinded out guy on that fourth line that you're going to need. He scored, and also Anthony Mantha, who was one of the rare stars in the lineup last night for the Penguins. He scored his 33rd goal of the year, and Mantha became just the fifth player, the sixth player in the Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin era to lead the Penguins in goal scoring in the regular season, not named Crosby or Malkin. He joins Gensel, Jake Gensel, Chris Kunitz, Brian Rust, and Ricard Raquel for most goals in the regular season, leading the Pens. It was 3-1 after one for the Pens. Elmer Soderblom scored, I think, 2 or 3 minutes into the second period to make it 4-1. That made it 4 goals in his last 9 games. And then after that, everything went down the drain, went down the toilet in a hurry. Don't know what happened. Pens probably just, had breakdowns, and the Blues really fed off of the home crowd energy, even though they are well eliminated from the playoffs. Blues tied it up at the end of the second period. Stuart Skinner, who started the game, was replaced by Arturs Shilovs. Might as well get Stu out of the net to have him rest up at least a little bit for the first round of playoffs. Avery Hayes did get another goal in the third period, but the Blues added 3 more. They win 7-5 last night. The big takeaway from last night's game that Jake Livanovage, the rookie defenseman out of the NCAA, looked like he held himself pretty well. Did not look overwhelmed in his first NHL game. Skated really, really well. Looked a little bit like Sam Girard, and he logged 25 minutes, over 25 minutes of ice time. So they got a good look at him ahead of the playoffs. We'll see if he stays with the team through round 1, which is the big talking point for the Penguins. Playoffs right around the corner, and you see it right there on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. I may not be showing it as much as I did back on, Monday night after we were done live streaming. Round 1, the Keystone State rivalry, the Battle of Pennsylvania is back, ladies and gentlemen. The Philadelphia Flyers, they are coming to the West Side, Best Side for round 1 of the playoffs. Back on Monday night, the Flyers taking on the Metropolitan Division winning Carolina Hurricanes. Game goes to overtime. That eliminated the Columbus Blue Jackets from playoff contention and secured the number 1 seed for the Hurricanes. And then in the shootout goes 4 rounds. Tyson Forster for the Flyers scores. Dan Vladar makes the stop for Philadelphia, and the Flyers, they eliminate the Washington Capitals. They clinch their first playoff berth since 2020, and they clinch the 3rd seed in the Metro Division and will face our Pittsburgh Penguins in round 1 of the playoffs. The first time since 2018 that Stanley Cup playoff hockey will be played in Philadelphia. We remember 2020 was the COVID year, and the first time since that 2020, or no, that would be 2018. That was 2018. First time since 2018 that the Pens and Flyers meet in the first round of the playoffs. 8th time in NHL history these two rivals will meet in the postseason, and I am beyond fired up for this game, for this series. Gotta tell you, the way that the Penguins are overcoming all of the piss-poor expectations they had put upon them this season, and to see the Flyers rising from the ashes late in the season. They were very much on the outside looking in when hockey came back from the Olympic break. These two teams that have been underdog stories all year, and we all know they just hate each other's guts. I hate Philadelphia. From the Eagles, they're not even big rivals with the Steelers, to the Phillies, and they're not big rivals with the Pirates. I hate the Flyers with a passion. I think I speak with all sincerity, and I speak on behalf of the Penguins fan base. We hate the Flyers. They hate us. It is going to be a perfect first-round matchup for both of these teams, more so the Penguins. You want to talk about going back to the playoffs after missing the last 3 years, and you want to get your crowd going round 1 of the playoffs, get that hatred going. Bring back that old school Penguins-Flyers rivalry. That is what I am expecting for sure. You had Rick Tocchet, former Penguin and former Flyer, current Flyer head coach. He said more or less that the Flyers, they are going to go after the core three, Crosby, Letang, and Malkin throughout this series because per Tocchet's quotes, they do not die. So they're going to go after our top guys. The Penguins, they have shown throughout the season that they are a team that stands up for each other. That is going to make for a high energy, highly emotional round one of the playoffs. And I think the Penguins, they're going to need that if they are going to, make a long run here in the playoffs. So I'm excited. I am fired up. We're going to be back here whenever first game of that series may be. Playoffs start this Saturday, but the Penguins and Flyers round one could be Saturday. It could be Sunday. If it's Sunday, that would actually work out better in our favor here on the Steel City Sports Report, because I believe if my math is correct, if this series starts Saturday, they'll play Saturday and Monday. They'll have Tuesday and Wednesday off for travel, and then Thursday, night one of the draft, you'll have the Penguins and Flyers game 3 in Philly during night one of the draft. I would like to focus on night one of the draft fully. Night 2 of the draft, I can work with that, doing double duty. But also there's a chance I saw that it could be a Monday start time or a Monday start for the series, because the Philadelphia 76ers, they are in the playoff round or the playoffs in the NBA right now, and they could have some sort of a conflicting schedule who gets to play at home for the the Flyers and 76ers here. So we'll see what happens here. But regardless, Flyers, Penguins, round one, just as the hockey gods intended. We're getting old-time hatred hockey back in the playoffs here for the Pens, and maybe even a few Penguins, or a few Pirates show up to the game. You had Paul Skeens for the Bucks. He was asked the other day, what he thought of the Penguins being in the NHL playoffs. He said he hasn't been to a playoff game before. It would be cool for the boys to see. So be on the lookout for some Pirates to join in the fun. Go to PPG Paints Arena and go watch the Bucks, which, ladies and gentlemen, transitions us into our final top story of the night, going right from hockey, from the ice to the baseball diamond, the Buccos, as the game broadcast just came on here to my right. The Buccos still doing pretty damn good right now, to say the least. And that especially applied to Monday night when we were done live streaming here on the channel. The Buccos, Paul Skeens on the bump, they poured it on against the Washington Nationals, obviously, by that final score. Before the game, Bucks, moment of silence for Phil Scrap Iron Garner. And in honor of Scrap Iron, the Bucks put on an offensive display like the 1970s World Series teams would have done. Skeens, first inning, did give up a home run to C.J. Abrams, third batter of the ball game, but struck out the first two batters he faced. That was in those two strikeouts. He recorded the 400th strikeout of his career. And then it was the Bucks bat show. Jake Mangum gets on in the bottom of the second inning after a walk. You had another walk for Henry Davis. O'Neal Cruz takes a walk, drives in the first run of the ball game without swinging the bat. That was 1-1. Brandon Lau, then a bloop drop-in single into left center field. That scored 2 runs to make it 3-1. Brian Reynolds, a hard knock the opposite way into left field. That scored another run, 4-1. And then bottom of the third, Spencer Horwitz, solo home run, just absolutely demolished it, 5-1. We're going to keep on moving along here. Hope you're catching up to the pattern right now. The Bucks, they just kept on going hot and heavy with the bats. Horwitz, home run, 5-1. O'Neal Cruz extended his hitting streak to 12 games, getting on base to begin a fourth inning score of runs. You had Brian Reynolds, who cleared the bases with a 3 RBI triple. That made it 8-1 Bucks, after the Bucks scored 2 more was 5-1. Yeah, Reynolds, a 6th inning, 3 RBI triple. Connor Griffin, RBI single. Made it 10-1, brought in 2 runs. You got O'Neal Cruz, again, 2 RBI single, 12-1 Pirates. Brandon Lau, no doubt, 3-run home run, 15-1 Pirates. The Pirates in the 6th inning, back on Monday, 10 runs for Paul Skeens. They have now scored 11 runs for Paul Skeens. The Pirates, 10 runs in that 6th inning. Just for comparison to last year's team, last year the Pirates scored 11 runs in the 10 losses Paul Skeens had last season. They scored 10 for him in the 6th inning last night. Skeens, by the way, 6 innings pitched, 1 hit, 1 earned run. That 1 hit was the home run for Abrams. 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. So he was just mowing down guys as the Bucks bats were having their way with the Nationals pitchers. 7 runs or more have been scored by the Pirates in all 4 of Paul Skeens' starts this season. So that is quite awesome. Jose Urquidy came in for the Pirates out of the pen. He looked like he sucked. The Bucks were able to get another run off of a position player. You had Evan Sisk come in the 9th inning, 3 strikeouts on 10 pitches. Raised the Jolly Roger, 16-5 on Monday. The Bucks bats having an explosion at PNC Park. Paul Skeens, very appreciative of the run support, made sure to give high fives and handshakes to every single player that walked into the clubhouse after the game. And then there was last night. Now, last night, I'm not going to act like it was a catastrophic failure for the Bucks, but was not ideal. You know, the Bucks really hurt themselves last night with a performance and 1 critical decision. Game started 15 minutes, late due to rain. Mitch Keller had a blow-up start. Did not expect it to come from him at this point right now, but Keller really rough last night. Gave up 3 runs in the 1st inning. Went through the first 5 batters in the Nationals lineup before recording an out. He then was able to tightrope out of a bases-loaded jam with a pickoff and a double play ball. He then went and gave up 2 more runs, in his outing to exit after 4 innings and 90 pitches, with the score being at 5-1. That one was a Brandon Lau home run for the Bucks in the bottom of the 1st, made it 4 homers in 3 games for the man they call Bam Bam. After Keller's departure, Johan Ramirez came in. The Bucks bullpen did their job, and the Pirates, even when they were down 5-1, felt like they still had a chance. If it was, a 5-1 deficit going back to last year when Derek Shelton was still the manager, as soon as you saw that 3-run 1st inning for Mitch Keller, you could have turned off the TV and gone and done something more constructive with the rest of your evening. But the Bucks, they battled. Marcell Ozuna had at least 2 hits last night. He heated up, had an RBI double to make it 5-2. Nick Gonzalez grounded out, but scored Brian Reynolds to make it 5-3. And then bottom of the 5th inning, Joey Bart hitting a wall-scraping home run to left field. A Bart dart made it 5-4. And the Pirates, golden opportunity to tie up the ball game, maybe at least tie up the ball game, maybe even take the lead. You had bases loaded with 1 out, and Brandon Lau was due up. But then the game-altering decision was made. Donnie Kelly pinch hits Brandon Lau against a left-handed pitcher with right-handed hitter Nick York, and York immediately grounded into a double play to strand the bases loaded. It was a 3-1 count for York, too. At least he worked it into a favorable hitter's count, and he hit the ball hard, but it was right to the second baseman for the twin killing. That right there was all right, I get it, righty on lefty matchup. I get that part. That's easy enough to understand. But why, of all people, was Nick York pinch hitting for Brandon Lau? I mean that, why of all people are we pinch hitting Brandon Lau? Lau is the first Pirate. He's on a hitter, right? he's on a heater right now, Brandon Lau. Lau is the first Pirate, going back to Monday night's performance, he's the first Pirate since RBIs became an official stat to have 5 RBIs or more in back-to-back games. Lau is the second Pirate, or excuse me, the third Pirate ever to have 4 home runs and 11 or more RBIs in a 3-game span, joined Ralph Kiner and Jose Castillo. He had 4 home runs in his last 3 games. He even hit a home run earlier in this game off of a left-handed pitcher, did Lau. And Nick York, the night before, that score you're seeing right now on your screen, 16-5 Monday night score, Nick York was 0 for 6 in that game. We are taking literally the coldest player off of the Pirates bench, putting him in for the hottest player in the Pirates lineup, all for the sake of having a righty on lefty hitter pitcher matchup. Made no sense. I like Donnie Kelly. I really do, but that was a very, very questionable decision. I don't care what kind of lefty-righty splits Brandon Lau may have, and you know, I don't care what the gut feeling was for Donnie Kelly. Your gut feeling was wrong there, Don. My gut feeling is no matter who's out there, it could be Nolan Ryan on the bump, the greatest left-handed pitcher of all time, or even, you know, Randy Johnson, or could be Clayton Kershaw in his prime. I'm still hitting Brandon Lau over Nick York in that situation. Just it makes no sense to me why you take out a dude who literally earlier in the game hit a home run off of a lefty, and a dude who has the second most home runs within his first 15 games in Pirates history, above him, Garrett Jones. Don't understand that whatsoever, why we sat Brandon Lau in that spot. And look, came back, burned the Pirates in the ass, and they ended up losing that game. Everybody was confused. Even players in the dugout, I think, were confused by that decision. Anyways, that was the game-altering move. The Pirates did try their best to, you know, will the game to at least a tie. Jake Mangum had a hell of a defensive throwout at the plate. Connor Griffin got on base in the 9th with a double, but Nick York came up, was the last out of the game, funny enough. Pop up, 5-4, the final score. The Nationals beat the Bucks yesterday. As much as I want to crush Donnie Kelly for that decision, as much as I want to, you know, say, Mitch Keller, what in the hell was that we just did? You know, that blow-up performance last night. I still will be positive, though. I still will be positive. Because like I said, last night, after the first inning, that is a game you could have stamped 15 minutes in that the Bucks were going to lose. But you had that feeling deep down that the Bucks were going to make a game out of it. And even when they hurt themselves a little bit, they still, you know, give themselves a chance to win at the end of the day. So I'll give them that credit. They're still fighting. They're still looking pretty damn good. The bats right now are firing on all cylinders, and they come up clutch at the right time. We'll see if that continues here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, which I keep on looking over to the TV screen on my right here. Jackie Robinson Day. The Bucks and all the other teams around the MLB wearing 42 on their backs. Mason Montgomery right now on the screen is warming up. He is going to start today, Mason Montgomery, the lefty out of the bullpen. I think they're doing what the Nationals did last night. The Nationals started the game with a left-hander, and then they went to their starter, Miles Michaelis. So it looks like Montgomery's going to start this game, and then they'll turn it over to Carmen Majinski shortly after. The lineup tonight for the Bucks, O'Neal Cruz, Brandon Lau, Brian Reynolds, Ryan O'Hearn, and Marcell Ozuna, the top 5 in the order. Then Nick Gonzalez tonight, playing shortstop. No start for Connor Griffin tonight. That is also a questionable decision for Donnie Kelly. Griffin finally looked like he was starting to see the ball a little bit better last night, got 2 hits, and he's back on the bench. I don't know if it was a pre-planned off day for him or what, but I don't like it. Spencer Horwitz, Nick York, the aforementioned Nick York, and Henry Davis round out the lineup tonight, and that's a good start. 1 pitch 1 out, a fly out to center field for Mason Montgomery. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that does it for the top stories in Pittsburgh sports here today. Got the extra Pittsburgh sports news coming up here in one moment, but real quick, back to the comments section. Truth, he's fired up. First place Pirates, baby, yeah. And at least the Pens are back in the playoffs, thank God. Both of those things right now. Vibes are high around Pittsburgh sports on top of the NFL draft right around the corner, which, is the eternal hope time of year for NFL fan bases. The Pens in playoffs and the Bucks looking good. First place in the division. Cannot be any happier than that right now with the overall state of Pittsburgh sports. Would be neat to go, but all the chaos talking about the NFL draft, heck no. Imagine going and waiting all day and all night and we trade out of the first round. Doubt it happens, but that would be funny. Yeah, that would be funny. Not for me if I were there, but I don't think there's any chance that the Steelers would trade out of the first round. Could they trade down in the first round? Yes, if the right deal comes along and you stockpile picks for next year's draft. But trading out of the first round altogether when the draft is in your city, I think we all can agree that that's not going to happen. Art Rooney II, for as hard as he fought for this draft in Pittsburgh, he's not going to do that 100%. There's a double for Curtis Mead for the Nationals, so they got a runner on second with 1 out here in the top of the first. Gonna real quick go to the Facebook Twitter timeline here. See if there's any new things that have gone on since we have gone live. Getting some more pictures from the North Shore in Pittsburgh. The draft stage outside of Acrisure Stadium still looks like they're, getting that already in ship shape. Looks like the entryways are coming up, getting ready. And I think I also saw a picture where the inside of Acrisure Stadium, that's going to be a fan, event zone as well. They got stuff inside Acrisure Stadium today. Looking at this person's mock draft of all Steeler top 30 visit mock draft. Venga Ioane at 121, Jeremy Bernard, round 2. Round 3 picks, Stukes, Lewis, and Jackson. 4th round pick quarterback Cole Payton. Offensive tackle in round 4, Travis Burke. Kendrick Law, wide receiver from Kentucky in round 5. Jacoby Thomas, safety in round 6. And then some 7th round picks here. Jack Kelly, James Thompson Jr., and Khalil Dinkins, tight end from Penn State. I would be more than happy if a draft like that played out for the Steelers, but we all know that they aren't going to make all 12 of those picks. Scrolling through more Twitter here, and definitely my timeline right now is tons of Steelers or Penguins fans and Flyers fans going back and forth with each other. Lots of crap talking. Gotta love it this time of year. Seeing if there's anything else here. It's like Mason Montgomery got out of the first inning without any issues, or at least I'm assuming so, and that they're not doing a pitching change right now. All right, let's wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. Get through the rest of the news here. The extra Pittsburgh sports news on this Wednesday, April 15th. Back into football for 1 second. Some more draft talk to go down right now. Apparently, this from Jordan Schultz. This is just overall big draft news. There are several teams in the top 10 that are interested in trading down, but the issues that they have run into and believe will persist is a lack of interest from teams moving on from high draft picks in the 2027 draft. If teams are looking to move down in the first round, could the Steelers maybe move up for a Mekhi Lemon or Venga Ioane, Jordan Tyson, something like that? that'd be cool. But yeah, I think the Steelers are in the other side of this thing. They're not going to move on from picks in next year's draft when they still need to find a long-term quarterback, assuming that Will Howard will not be that guy. I'm not saying he won't be, but Steelers definitely going to load up for next year's quarterback crop. Couple of mock drafts as well came out today from some draft insiders and analysts. Mel Kiper, his final 2026 NFL mock draft, he had the Steelers with their first 2 picks in the draft. One I'd be extremely okay with. The other one, not my first choice of a second round wideout, but I'll take it. Oliva Venga, Ioane, the first round pick for the Steelers at pick 21 per Kiper. I believe Venga falls that far when he does. And pick 53, he has the Steelers taking Zachariah Branch, wide receiver from Georgia. I believe in one of our mock drafts, I took Branch with the one of the third round picks, but second round is more likely where he will go. He could be a Swiss Army knife there for the Steelers and truly be a change of pace wide receiver compared to Metcalf and Pittman. Also, talking about draft stuff, another thing that I would go down to the draft for would to be checking out the Pat McAfee Show Draft Spectacular there live in Pittsburgh. The Pat McAfee Show will be having Bill Cowher on for their draft process or their draft live stream. So former Steeler head coach and football legend Bill Cowher will be on the Pat McAfee Draft Spectacular. Last few things here for the Steelers. I'm not going to get in too deep on them. Starting on Friday at 11:30 a.m. when we reconvene back here on Friday, we will have some things to talk about when it comes to the Steelers' new coordinators. Offensive coordinator Brian Angelico, defensive coordinator Patrick Graham, and special teams coordinator Danny Crossman will all have, I believe, their first media availabilities coming up on Friday, a little bit before lunchtime. Will be intriguing to see what they have to say and if they have, any favorites they would like to take in the draft. One of those guys, one of those players that Patrick Graham will be coaching this upcoming season, or not. Who knows? Maybe he gets traded before draft night. Linebacker Patrick Queen, he was on Good Morning Football yesterday. Talked, of course, about Aaron Rodgers because it wouldn't be a Steeler interview if they weren't talking about Aaron Rodgers. Patrick Queen said about Rodgers, is he going to be back? I don't know, but hell, I'll take him. Dude is a great teammate, great quarterback. We all know him. We all love him. He knows how to win. We just have to be better for him. Queen added, it is 50-50 right now if Rodgers would be back. We're reaching crap or get off the pot time. Maybe we get a answer by Monday. I believe the Steelers have their first mandatory workouts Monday of the week of the draft. Maybe Rodgers shows up for those. Kevin Colbert, former Steeler GM, has a new specialist role with the Colorado State football program. Congratulations to him. Saw that. You got James Conner. He's going to be back in town for the draft, returning to announce the Cardinals' day 2 picks coming up here on Friday, next Friday. That'd be cool. Love James Conner, Pitt alumni. And I think he just, got a bad luck of the draw with the offensive line he was running behind here with the Steelers. Couple of numbers were announced as well for the Steelers to end the Steelers talk today. Excuse me. You got right now Johnston, the punter, Cameron Johnston, back with the Steelers. The number that he is wearing currently is number 19. So we go from Calvin Austin to Bill Burr with the number 19 for the Steelers. He's sharing that number with Danico Slaughter, a defensive back. Also, A.T. Perry, a wide receiver who the Steelers added in free agency. He is right now sharing number 27 with Corey Trice. So Corey Trice is in to share the number territory. We'll see if that sticks or not. On to some baseball extra news here for today. We got a breakdown of the Connor Griffin contract per John Heyman of The Athletic. Griffin, his 9-year, $140 million contract with a $12 million signing bonus. The salaries shake out as follows: 2026, $1 million; 2027, $2 million; 2028, $4 million; 2029, $6 million; and then in 2023 or 2030, excuse me, yeah, 1 million, 2 million, 4 million, 6 million, 2026 through 2029. And then in 2030, that is when it really jumps up for Connor Griffin. 12.5 million in 2030, 2031, 21 million, 2032, 26 million, or 26.5 million, and in 2023 or 2033 and 2034, it is 27.5 million for Connor Griffin. So the salary, not linear for Griffin. It will inflate as his big league career goes along. There are also award and MVP escalators and bonuses in the contract. And I like this last little bit: a limited no trade clause for Connor Griffin. The Pirates signing a dude to a limited no trade clause. I thought I'd never see the day here. Good thing they did get this deal done with Connor Griffin. Looks like a bit of a bargain now, even more because the Detroit Tigers, their top prospect shortstop, Kevin McGonigal, agreed to an 8-year, $150 million contract extension today. A massive deal for him, getting a little bit more than Connor Griffin. O'Neal Cruz continues to be the hottest Pirate hitter right now. As a matter of fact, no, he's not on base. Got 1 on and 2 outs here for the Bucks in the bottom of the first. O'Neal Cruz, apparently a breakdown of his at-bats right now. Bit of a wider stance for O'Neal Cruz. Maybe that's what's helping him get off to a hot start this season. And this is just 2 extra Pittsburgh Penguins news items today. Rafael Harvey-Pinard, Avery Hayes, Ville Koivunen, Unikopinen, and Rutger McGroarty, all of those players getting reassigned to Wilkes-Barre Scranton today after being up with the Pens for these last 3 games of the season in which they sat guys. Would probably guess Avery Hayes out of that group is the first guy to get called back up should they need him in the playoffs. But the fact that, he got sent down and all these other guys, maybe Blake Lizotte and Connor Dewar will be good to go in the playoffs here. At least that is my hope. And this right here, just one big Pittsburgh sports story in general regarding the Penguins, Steelers, and Pirates. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette yesterday sold to the Venetulius Institute for Local Journalism, a nonprofit organization that owns the Baltimore Banner. So the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette will not be shutting down coming up on May 3rd. That is when it was, the date that was set for it to close its doors. But now it's going to be preserved, at least somewhat. So Pittsburgh Post-Gazette ain't going anywhere. I will be quite all right with that. And I believe that is going to do it here for today, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you all for joining me. Shout out Concepts for the kind words there. Truth, Mr. Stiller, Fan, Freight Train, all of you guys. SCSR Dad, who is in the comment section here today. Appreciate you all. Going to go out on a limb and predict that there won't be any live stream tomorrow night. We'll see how the news cycle shakes out. So we'll probably most likely be coming back here on Friday, wrapping up the week, probably getting ready for a Pittsburgh Penguins playoff game at some point this upcoming weekend. We'll have more draft stuff to talk about, not, named top 30 visits. The Pirates, their series with the Nationals. We'll have some news to talk about that as well. And I think Marcell Ozuna, red hot. Don't let Ozuna get hot. He had that crappy start to the season. Everybody got on his ass, and Marcell Ozuna with an RBI single here in the bottom of the first, making it 1-0 Bucks. Runners are at the corners right now with Nick Gonzalez. So Marcell Ozuna, good stuff from him. And that is going to do it today. Well, thank you all for joining me. On your way out, subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so that you never miss a thing here on the channel. Again, like this live stream, share this live stream in the comment section. Leave any thoughts, questions, or opinions that you may have after the fact. Go check out the channel at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X. Tune back in a little bit later on tonight for SCSR 60. Have a good rest of your Wednesday evening, ladies and gentlemen. Back here probably on Friday to wrap up the week of Pittsburgh Sports Talk. We'll see you then. Peace.